Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Jim Dickey here with today's edition of Web Weather, taking a closer look at the cold front, the strong cold front that is going to head in here to southwest Florida tonight, tomorrow, bringing us some rainfall on our Wednesday and bringing us by far, the coolest weather of the season so far in its wake. So the front right now is marching its way across the Gulf of Mexico. Note the surface low marked on the map here, and note sort of this moisture being drawn northward to meet that low. What's left of Sarah, and we were talking about this at length over the last couple of days, what's left of Sarah is being drawn northward into this frontal boundaries, giving it a little extra kick, giving, at the very least, extra tropical moisture for this to work with, and it's producing some soaking rain right now. Eastern Louisiana into Mobile Bay. The Panhandle just about to get into some rainfall here too. Now for us in southwest Florida today, high pressure wedging in off of the Atlantic, and that's going to keep the entire Gulf Coast region dry as we work our way through this Tuesday. Dry, sunny, and warm. Wind shifting a little bit out of the south and east here in advance of that front. You can see the effects in Miami at 75 degrees already. They didn't fall to the 70s overnight. We're still on the comfortable side along the Gulf Coast. Temperatures in the 60s, 62 Tampa, 65 in Cape Coral right now. I feel a little more humid here today, and I do think the one change you'll notice is that it is going to turn breezy in advance of the front. The winds will pick up about 10, 15 miles per hour this afternoon. You can add 10 on top of these numbers to get the gusts we'll be seeing through the afternoon and the evening. Not terribly windy, but certainly a stronger breeze than what we felt yesterday. That'll help to take the edge off things, as it'll be pretty warm this afternoon. Highs get into the mid to low 80s, about 5 degrees or so above average in most locations. Cape Estero at 84, Immokalee, Everglades City, some of your warm spots at 86 degrees here today. And it's temporary because that cold front's going to come in here and it's going to be a game changer temperature-wise. This is sort of how things tend to go for us during our fall, during our transition to more of our winter pattern. We get one front to come through, that sort of gives us, we take a step forward as far as cooling things down. You get another one, you cool things down further. That's exactly what's going to occur here. So here we are with our high pressure set up to the east with the front off to the west. The rain, the storms continue to march their way eastward. So this is a classic setup for these frontal systems that move in, especially when the parent low stays to our north. You get a squall line to form up along that front, but the support, the upper level support that helped to form that formable line of downpours and storms, stays to the north of us here in southwest Florida. So as the storms get away from that parent low pressure system, they weaken. And it's certainly been the favored solution in the models here this morning that the squall line will be falling apart as it tries to work into our part of the state early tomorrow morning. So there's 5:30 Wednesday morning. Already seen a couple of showers trying to wash in. I think we're tracking some downpours, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Fairly widespread rain working in by 8, 9, and 10 o'clock. But note the heaviest of the rain on our model here is staying to our north, Tampa and points northward, basically I-4 and points northward. We just have a couple of showers working in as that squall line falls apart. Still tracking a few showers by 2 and 3 o'clock, and then the front moves out and we dry things out. So there's the rain totals. Not terribly impressive from our in-house storm tracker model here this morning. About 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. That'd be it. The global models, so lower resolution, but sort of agreeing here. A little more rainfall, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. But note where the darker green is, that's where the heavier rain is, where the squall line is falling apart. So the GFS agrees with that. The European forecast model sort of agrees with that too. It keeps things together a little bit further south and does show a few pockets of heavier rain rolling in here. So I don't want to rule that out entirely. Bottom line, yeah, we're going to be tracking some rain tomorrow. I think it's mainly during the morning between the hours of about 6 a.m. and noon. And then we start to dry things out as the front moves its way out of here. So what are we talking about temperature-wise? Well, let's start by looking at what's going on right now across the lower 48. And you see the cold air mass we're talking about. Look at this. Winter has arrived across the Intermountain West. It's currently 1 in Denver, Colorado, or at least in the mountains just north of Denver, Colorado. But note, you don't get that far east where you start to see the 50s here. When you see a change of about 50 degrees from Denver to St. Louis, west to east, you know there's a front here. Yeah, sure enough, as we sort of dive in, we can trace that front right now as I see it, draped across right along the Mississippi, really. You're getting your warm southerly flow out of the Gulf ahead of it. It's why Tallahassee is in the 60s. It's why New Orleans is in the 60s right now. And you got your cold air starting to flow southward behind it. Dallas back in the 40s. San Antonio back in the 40s. And that's the cold air that is going to continue to dive its way southward as we go forward. This sort of illustrates what I'm talking about. You have your cold, dry air mass in blue on the atmospheric moisture tracker across the Rockies, now crossing the Mississippi. Ahead of this, you get your deep tropical moisture lifting northward into the northern Gulf Coast. Heading to the day tomorrow. There's your front arriving in Florida. There's your deep tropical moisture along the Gulf Coast. That's when we have the opportunity for some soaking rain here across our area. And then, front moves out, your cold, dry air mass dives in. You want to cool things down here, you really want to drop temperatures in Florida going through the winter, this is how you do it. A steady north-northwest wind for a good 24 to 48 hours, maximizing the cold air transport, dragging in that chilly air mass out of the north and northwest, bringing it right down the Florida Peninsula, and also sort of minimizing the warming effects of the water. You're bringing the air right down the peninsula, and that allows us to sort of maximize the cooling. And here's what we're talking about. Low temperatures. So these are basically sunrise temperatures. Mid-60s on Thursday as the chillier air is just arriving. Thursday's one of the days temperatures struggle to climb all that much. Look at the lows. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. By far, the coolest stretch we've had so far this fall. You have to go all the way back to last February to find a cooler stretch of mornings here. The average low is 61. So we're talking morning low temperatures about 10 degrees above average later on here this week and this weekend. And the high temperatures staying well below average too. Mid-70s on Thursday, 70s in general as we go through Monday. Saturday in particular, I think we struggle to get out of the 60s in many locations. So after a long, hot and humid summer, after a very busy hurricane season, nice to see a change of pace here as we're tracking the first arrival of sort of that winter chill here in southwest Florida in the coming days. I'll have plenty more on your forecast throughout the rest of the morning here. I have another newscast coming up at 9 o'clock here on ABC 7. I hope to see you then.